My guest today is, my phone was just flashing, sorry, is Barbara Tibbetts. Barbara and I just met on LinkedIn through a friend, Andy, and Barbara and I have really hit it off. We're kind of kindred spirits in many ways, we're finding. But Barbara just put on a really cool sustainability event that I was hoping that she would tell us about. But Barbara, thank you so much for joining us. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you very much for having me.
And Barbara is coming from Nantucket, or she's talking to us from Nantucket. I'm going to introduce her to my friend Laura, who is also on the podcast, Laura Ludwig, way back. But so tell us about the event that you just put on. That was not too long, like a month ago?
It was actually in August. So I think the fall happens very quickly, doesn't it? Right. And through the holidays. But yes, it was in August, and it was for sure a passion project that I felt compelled to do. I can't even tell you why. I was investing in some companies, and I realized that a large percentage of them, like 95% of them, were sustainable. And that made me realize that I viewed the world and was curious about this world of sustainability. So I thought, well, how do I get other people to know about these different companies? How can I help other people learn? And so I decided, I'll try an event. Well, since I live in Nantucket and we only have so much, so I think we try to live more sustainably here than in most areas, and people here were unbelievably supportive. So I was able to actually do this event, and we started off with some poetry reading, and beautiful poetry reading about it's a man who's been on this island for years and has made a lot of the paths that we have here on the island, and he wrote the poetry based on that. So he started us off on beautiful poems, and then we did a sustainable fashion show where the items in the fashion show were found on the island in our take it or leave it at the dump or our thrift stores. And then we had a panel, with 3 companies. One came all the way from California, that from a company called 𝗙𝗵𝗀𝗀. And then we had 𝗚𝗿cie_𝘂𝘁, which is an island company that does solar. And then we had another company, Ab Design Labs, and they do green architecture. So they were able to talk in the same realm and sustainability and building. And but the exciting thing for me was that I recorded the event, so you can find it on YouTube, and that on a YouTube channel called Living and Playing in a Sustainable World that I just begun. So you can see that, not live, but you can watch it on YouTube, as well as I have a website now too called lapsnow.com. It was created for the event, but then we changed it over to show how we can all try and live sustainably. Laps, get it? Living and playing in a sustainable world, but laps, lapsnow.com. And there on the website, I'm building it so that a general person can go and find information to live sustainably, where they don't have to. I've sort of gone down this rabbit hole, as I'm sure you have, of sustainability and trying to learn, and you go to so many different places. And because you and I we're finding a passion in this, we're willing to take the time. Like, that's fun for us, right? Where other people just want to learn. They just want to make better choices for their living daily lives. And the website hopefully gives you that place to go where you can learn a lot of different things about living and playing sustainably.
Right. I think that's so cool. It's almost like an encyclopedia or like it's a resource to look to, your website.
Exactly.
Which you were saying there's not really one place where you can look for sustainability things.
I haven't found it. I mean, it's usually a specific, where you go to a website or a source, they're talking about their specific agenda, as opposed to this website, which gives you lots of different choices. Like on there, you'll find choices about makeup, and you'll find choices about clothing, and you'll find here's an example, like laundry detergent, you know, the big jugs, right? We're trying to get rid of that plastic. Well, you can use, you probably already do, but not everybody knows about laundry sheets. And I have a link on there that gives you a choice, and someone's already done the research to decide which one they feel is best, and they then right there's done the research. And you know, I learned from it. I now use laundry sheets and don't have those big tubs anymore myself. But because I was going down that sustainable road, I found it. I'd much rather people went right in and had a place to go and learn. So that's what I chose to do.
That's really cool. And I forget what the brand is that you guys recommend for the sheets.
Well, there's actually there's actually 5, I think, in the link, so you can choose which one you want to do based on their information. I try really hard not to throw out a brand. Like, I think it's a choice that we all need to make. Like the scent might be something you want, or the chemical that's in it, or whatever. I just want to sort of, the website is a place for you to have get information and make your own decisions.
Okay.
And along with, you know, one of the things that I like to talk about is vinegar and, you know, baking soda, and that's a great cleaner, right? An abrasive, a great cleaner. I have to say, my sister-in-law taught me that years ago, but also put a little bit of Dawn in vinegar, and you can have a window cleaner. That is great. It really works well. So like things like that are on the website that you can learn by going there and making choices.
Yeah, I found the vinegar and baking soda. I use that for to make a paste when around your stove, when you get that weird greasy gunk around that stove. It works great on that.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Or your oven. You don't need to use that horrible oven cleaner that smells so awful. And I actually had my cleaners one time, inside the oven, they used it so much that they actually almost started a fire. Like something went wrong in the system. And the self-cleaning gets so hot when they put this stuff in. So I just use baking soda and vinegar now in that oven. I still have it, but I clean it very differently. So
yeah. Oh my goodness. That's really cool. I mean, for me personally, I have used the sheets. I like the sheets. They're very handy. They're very light, which is so nice. And you can mail order them, and they don't cost a lot.
Yes.
But we have in our town, we have a refill store, and I use the refill stuff. So I just bring like a salsa jar, and I bring it and I fill it up with my liquid.
I love that. We do not have that here to my knowledge, but I would think this would be a place that should have it. So maybe we'll put that bug in someone's ear, and they'll start that store. Or maybe there is one here I just don't know about.
Maybe it's your next project.
Yeah. What do you get what do you get there? Cleaning supplies, or what do you get there?
I mostly get cleaning supplies. I get my laundry soap. I get dishwasher pods, because they're not made with plastic. It's a gelatin, I think, that just dissolves.
Oh.
Or pod. I get deodorant.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I put it in a little baby jam jar, because I have a jam business. I've got jars like coming out my ears. So dish soap, laundry soap, deodorant. I get cleaning vinegar. It's like a 20% vinegar as opposed to 5%.
Oh, yeah.
I bet 20%, so it's like 4 to 1.
I like that. That's wonderful to do, and hopefully more stores will open that will do that. Kind of like I just bought vegetable bags to go to the supermarket with, the cotton ones, right? So we don't keep using that plastic, even though now they're like compostable here. I still don't like to use them. I mean, I can just use these. But you know what? We didn't used to be able, like, if you brought your own bags to the store years ago, people would look at you like, what are you doing? I remember that. I remember doing that years ago on my own, and they thought I was shoplifting. So it was like, okay, but now it's coming around, right? And I think it's all about comfort zones for us. So you'll see, if you see more and more people putting their vegetables in these bags, it'll be okay, you know?
Right. No, I totally have those. They're awesome because you can put potatoes in them. I love that.
And potatoes always, that bag always breaks. So,
Well, that's what, yeah, but the reusable, the cotton ones
Right.
or whatever, fill it with potatoes.
Exactly.
Stretch out.
I have not done that yet, but I could see that.
Yeah. But what else do I feel like there's something else that I get there. Anyway, I love my retail store. And she was a guest on my podcast too.
And it's a habit, right?
Anyway,
But it's now part of your daily life, is you take your jars and you go, just like you take your whatever and go to the supermarket. Now we have bags in our cars, right? And you bring them into the store. And if you forget, you know, you might push the cart to the car and put the stuff in like I did today, but
100%.
where before people would be like, what are you doing? So it's just a matter of us learning and becoming more comfortable and developing better habits.
Right. Like if I undershoot the number of bags that I bring, I'm just like, if it's bigger items, just don't put them in the bag. I'll just put them in. I've got more bags in the car. Like I'm just not going to go get them right now.
Right. And I also don't like paying that 10 cents for the bag anyway, but
Absolutely.
but still, if I already have one, you know,
I'm cheap and I have a bag. And
Yeah.
it's not right. Yeah.
I think I wouldn't think of it that way. I'd say you're making a good choice for our environment. That's what you're doing. It's all how you look at it.
But and so you all right, so you told us a little bit about your website and you told us a little bit about the event that you did. But so you said that you did 12 days of sustainability.
I did a tree. We did Christmas stroll here on the island, which a lot of towns do those things, and we decorate trees downtown. And I had a tree for living and playing in a sustainable world. And I did the 12 days of sustainability. So I hung cards, and one side would have a question and the other side you'd flip it over and would have the answer. And one of my questions was, what two products can you use to make a cleaning solution? And when you flipped it over, it was baking soda and vinegar.
Right.
And there was another one was just to get people more aware of how much trash we accumulate. I had a card that said, how much trash did each family in Nantucket accumulate? And you flipped it over and there was the answer.
And it was what, 12,000 to
1,200. It was 1,250 to about 1,500 pounds, which that's a lot. You know,
like
I don't know how I'm not sure how they calculate it, but they seem to. They had actually the card actually had the whole state on it. And I focused on Nantucket, but it had the entire state on it. So they did it somehow.
And that's trash only. That's not including like recycling or composting or anything like that.
That's a really good question. It just said trash. So I'm assuming it was all of it. I'm assuming it's everything that you bring to the dump. Because think about that. You talked about the laundry jugs, right? Like if we stop using those, you might think you're recycling it, but not all plastic gets recycled. Some of it does, some of it doesn't. If it's dirty, it's thrown, all those different things. If we could just not use it, it'd be great.
Only 9% of the plastic containers are recycled. 9%.
Yeah, we work to bring them to the dump, right? For that 9%. Yeah.
Yes. So if we could just find another use, something else to use instead.
Which we are beginning to do that, like you did. You know, you go and get your jars filled and laundry sheets, and you know, we're learning. And you know, that's the whole point of your podcast and what I'm doing, is so that we can have conversations and we can all learn and make better choices. Like now I'm gonna like look around and see, do we have one of those here on the island? Not that I'm aware of, but doesn't mean it's not here.
Yeah, I mean, there should be one. That would be super cool. I mean, that would just make you guys so much cooler. I mean, Nantucket has everything, right? I mean, that's where the celebrities hang out.
Yeah, well, you know, it's not all celebrities here. We actually have, unfortunately, a very high homeless population now. Yeah, you're looking surprised. It's everywhere. you know, we're not exempt from it. We're very fortunate because we live on an island with the ocean on every corner, but you know, we still have the same issues other people do. So I try and focus on the incredible people that live here full time. We have an amazing group of people here. Now, people that come in, I was a summer person for years myself before I lived here full time. So though there are a lot of wonderful people that live here seasonably too. But I haven't met any of the celebrities myself, so I can't, they're here. The president was over Thanksgiving. So, but
just recently.
Yes, he was.
Wait, President Biden or President? Yeah.
Yeah, he's come to Nantucket for many years for Thanksgiving. So he was here. But like I said, we actually have about 20,000 people who live here full time now.
That's a lot.
Yep, it is. It's a lot higher than most people think. For sure. Yep. But it's a wonderful place to come. Come say hello. We have a fast ferry that you can get on in Hyannis and you're here in an hour, because it really is an amazing place, the history here. So hopefully the people here can get the word out about trying to live more sustainably. We can have a voice.
Absolutely. My goodness.
I'm trying anyway. I'm trying, so we'll see what happens. And based on the goodwill of a lot of people here, I was able to do my event, and I'll be doing another one in September as well. And I'm getting a great deal of support from the island too. I found out yesterday I'll be getting some funding to do it. So we're making progress. Whatever this thing is I'm doing, and whatever the thing you are doing, we're getting our voice out there.
That's so cool. So next year is going to be bigger.
I hope so.
You're gonna have funding, my gosh. I mean, you're going to have more people behind you, I'm sure, because it'll be more known.
Right. And because I did the recording and people can watch it, they can see that it did actually happen. Right. And there was something to be said. And so something important was said, and the conversations hopefully will go from those recordings. And then we'll do something else, something fun. I'm trying to make the events fun, which is why I did the fashion show, thinking that's fun, right? It was a small part of it, but you know, that we can live sustainably and have fun. So living and playing sustainably, right?
Wow, that's so awesome, Barbara. My gosh, that's a big thing to take on.
As I'm sure we didn't really know what we were getting into, but we were curious, right? We were curious and wanted to try and learn. And I think you were drawn to doing a podcast and talking to all these people that you're getting so excited about, just like I was getting very excited about learning about sustainability, and I wanted to pass on that knowledge. So I applaud you doing a podcast, because I think that's you've got more dedication than I've got. I'm doing an event once a year and a website. So together we're going to change the world, Amy.
We are going to change the world. Absolutely. I feel like there was something else that I wanted to touch on. So oh crap, what was it? Website. Oh. Trying to think what you had on your form. That there was something that you had said something about everyone can be sustainable. It doesn't have to be, and that's kind of it. Just the more that I learn about you, I'm just like, you're so, like, we were so meant to meet, because there's so many things that you had said on your form that I was like, that's so in line with me, because you had said, like, everyone can be sustainable. It just doesn't have to be this big deal. And like, it's so true. Like, I think I was telling you about the lady that came on, Brenda came on, and she was talking about making her own bra. Like,
right.
It seems like it's a big deal, but at the same time, like, it's a big deal for her, and she's saving, all this stuff from going to the landfill. She's saving money and she knows exactly what's in her food. Like, that's a big deal for her.
Well, I think we and you and I talked about it. Like I take my chicken now and I boil it and I get the broth, and then when I make stir fry, I just throw that cooked chicken in, and I don't leave it in there very long. It's because it's already cooked, but then I've got this broth I can make a soup with. The other thing I've been doing lately, I tried composting. It did not go well for me. And the people that were in the house, they were like throwing stuff that they shouldn't in there, and it was so I was like, okay, this is not for me. But what I started doing lately is I just take whatever, like the carrot peels and the lettuce and whatever, things like vegetables and fruit, and I've been putting them out in this one area in my yard. We have many bunnies and we have many deer here, and I just put it out in this one place, and I was curious, it's always gone the next day. Like somebody is coming in the night and eating that. And I feel like that's so much better than leaving it. But I have to think about it, right? When you're preparing your food, you have to take a container and put the stuff in and walk it out. But I found a way that worked for me. Like composting is not for me, but this is another way that is sustainable, that is working for me. And I think that's why the conversations are important, and why I hope the website will teach those things and make people start thinking that way more, like it's done for me. And this is sort of like a personal journey, I guess, that I'm sharing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much, and I think I was saying it too, like everyone does things differently, and it's going to work different for everyone. So like, someone might say, oh, I don't want to make my own broth. Like, I don't have room in my freezer for a bag of scraps or whatever. But then, your idea of putting those scraps outside, and if you've got bunnies and deer and whatever, and then it's getting eaten, like whatever works,
right. It's
like, oh my gosh, I can totally do that, and I can feed the wildlife. And
yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously we can't do that if you live in the city. You'd have to live in an area where there is grass. But maybe you come up with some other. If you look around your environment, you can make it better. And if we all make small choices and better choices, first of all, physically, because you and I talked about that, right? Like the food that we eat nowadays is not as healthy as it was years ago. And it's showing the health effects in people that are 60 and 70 years old now. But if we can make better choices in the food that we eat and what we do with it, we're going to all be healthier. And I think that's sort of like where I've gotten to. It's about choosing to live a healthier life. Like you don't necessarily have to think about the big picture. You can just think about yourself and your family and your immediate friends and the area that you live in. And then hopefully it catches on, and more and more people start doing that. Right.
Yeah. And on the cooking side too, like I attended virtually the College of the Atlantic, which is in Mount Desert Island in Maine, so like Bar Harbor area.
Love that area.
And there was a professional chef that was talking about cooking, and how the fact that people aren't cooking as much is kind of a breakdown of the family. And if people were cooking together, or even just cooking and sitting around a table more, then relationships would be a little bit more stable and a little bit more close knit. And so there's everything is not about food, but at the same time, food is so important.
That must have been fascinating, though. I love that. I think that is really important. I think there has been a breakdown in the family and the breakdown in the way we're living. We're the rat race, right? And I think we do have to slow down and really recognize what is in our environment and what is around us. And I was a single mom, raised my children from, I guess, 7, 9, and 14, and my 14-year-old insisted that we have family dinners. Like he's the one who, because everyone's involved in activities, and I was driving them, it was just me, but he insisted we have family dinners. And I do think that was very healthy, but it was funny because he was the one who pushed it. But I think that is an important thing. Family is very different now. Family isn't the traditional mother, father, children. Family can mean lots of things, but if we all sit down and chat over dinner, or lunch, whatever the meal is.
Right. Over a meal, or prepare a meal together,
Right.
or something like that. Like, yeah, I mean, I make banana muffins every single weekend, and I make frittata every single weekend, and so that we have
Food during the
breakfast
week.
stuff,
Yeah.
breakfast and snacks. Like I do it every weekend, and we have a farm drop here, and I don't think that you guys have that in Massachusetts, at least not yet. But farm drop is a really cool thing, and you can just order. It's almost like a Hannaford to go or a grocery store to go type of thing, where you can order from farmers. So you're ordering from all these different farmers, and then you can just go pick it up at one stop.
We do actually have that here in this in the growing season. There is a program. It's not called Farmers Drop, but there is a program like that here. And I think that's great, isn't it? Right. And it's stuff that you might not normally use, but then you got to figure out how to use it. That's what I've heard. I haven't tried it myself, but like you get some interesting things that you might not normally use, but then you learn how to cook with those.
Oh, you're talking about a CSA. Are you talking about a CSA?
What's that
stand? Box where you get the community supported agriculture.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
A 3-box.
Yeah.
Those are fun because I see that as such a challenge. Like you have to research all the produce and what you can do with it, and you have to taste it and see what it would go well with and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But this is you can order. I mean, you can order pickles. You can order.
Oh, okay.
Like that, and you can order. I order Swiss chard every single week because I cannot get enough Swiss chard. But one of the things that has always kind of bugged me is you can buy a loaf of banana bread. It's like $20. I'm like, banana bread? I use my black bananas, and a stick of, and a third of a stick of butter, and
there's no packaging.
Yeah,
because you make it yourself. Same thing, and I think it tastes so much better. And I guess, but it is a habit you have to develop, like you just said. Every on the weekend, this is what I do, right?
And 5 minutes.
And it is, but some people don't like to cook. I get that, but if they looked at the fact that there's the packaging, that what you're putting in it, what's in it, it's eggs, and you could make 5 loaves and put them in the freezer, like they'll last. My kids like chocolate chips in their banana bread. I think it's more of a dessert. It's actually
yeah. My husband would not have that. I'll put oats in it, and I'll put anything but chocolate chips.
I mean, that's what made them eat it. So I put a few chocolate chips in there, and it worked. So that's fine with me. That it worked. Yeah, but you're right. There's no packaging, and exactly what's in there.
But yeah, I mean, just for me, it was like $20 for a loaf of banana bread. Are you kidding me?
I guess I've never bought banana bread, so I've never looked at that price. I will have to check that out. I do buy muffins from some of our local bakeries, I will admit, because they somehow just taste better. But again, it's not a lot of packaging either in the local bakery, right? Because they made it there, they put it in a bag, and sometimes if I'm just going to eat it, I'm like, don't give me the bag,
Yeah.
And I know there are health codes and stuff, they have to be careful about what they do, but that's even just going to a bakery is less packaging,
right?
And supporting local, all of that. But that, again, that's a way to live. It's like we kind of have to just sort of bring ourselves back to that, talk about it and say, wouldn't you prefer a fresh muffin from the bakery versus that packaged thing from the supermarket that had to be packaged in order to be shipped, then taken out of that packaging, and then all of that. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Or, I've got muffins that just came out of the oven. You want a muffin?
Yeah. And not everybody cooks. That's why I say, well, you could go, but going to a bakery would be a more sustainable choice too, than if you don't cook, if you're not a cook.
Come to Amy's house. She's always got something.
There you go. I'm coming.
Last night.
I'm coming. I'm coming.
But anyway, yeah, I'm a big proponent for cooking at home, and just knowing what's in your food, just paying attention, being mindful of what's in your food. Maybe we can't get away from all of it, but there are some recipes I always when I'm doing recipes, some of them don't call for vegetables. They're like, oh, you can put onions and maybe potatoes, and I'm like, what about broccoli or carrots or celery or something like that. And so I'll just add stuff to make it more colorful and just add stuff.
Sounds yummy.
I just like the colors, man. And carrots go well in everything.
I love carrots. So I agree with that. My family laughs because I'm always shredding carrots. And I will say, when you put shredded carrots on lettuce and say you make a big salad and you don't eat it all, it helps it last. I don't know what is in the carrots, but the lettuce stays fresher, I've noticed.
So you shred the carrots. So you get the little thingy and you.
Yep, shred them. Yep. And I find the salad, like, you know, I know you work all the time. So you do your baking on the weekend, right? Well, so you could shred your carrots on a weekend and probably have a salad for 2 or 3 days that actually might still taste good. That's the thing. I was amazed that it did. You know, just a little bit of lettuce and carrots, and then throw in some raisins and whatever when you're ready to eat it. You know, we're all going to learn from each other.
Yeah, I did not know that. That's very cool. Anyway, that is a good tip. I appreciate that. So Barbara, when I say the word sustainability, what does that mean to you?
I think it means at this point, making better choices for how I live, so that as we go through the future, we have we have better options for our world and our earth and each other. I guess that's what I think about sustainability. Think about it as making better choices.
I'm down with that. I like that. Very cool. And was there any more of a message that you wanted to share?
I think I guess my message that I would like to get out there is needs to be a part of our daily life and a part of our daily thoughts. We need to live and play sustainably. It's everywhere. And we all need to start thinking about it and making it habits. We have good habits and bad habits. Let's make some better habits.
I like that. And I love that you incorporate play into that. I mean, for me, it's all fun. I don't get a lot of work out of what I'm doing in the sustainability world, but I'm sure some people see it as like tedious or something. But I think when you add the word play to it, it just makes it feel lighter. And I like that. But I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, you know, the things that you're doing for fun.
Yes, exactly. And one of them was the reason play really came in was a company that is created a battery for your bike. So they're very young and they're not in production quite yet, but they create a battery you can hook to any bike. And that's sort of where the play came in, as well as a company that makes sea animals, dolphins, turtles, out of recycled plastic. So stuffed animals made out of recycled plastic. So that's sort of where the play came in. It was these companies that I'd had, but I do think it needs to be everywhere for us to make a change. And we can all make small changes, like looking for stuffed animals that are made with recycled plastic, because they're out there for sure.
Right.
You know, so 𝗚𝗿cie is the name of that company. Very, very cute. Very, very cute stuffed animals.
𝗚𝗿cie. I like that. Oh, you had a message about PFAS though, but that was.
So that's all about that. That's all again about our environment and making better choices in our environment. So I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Dark Waters. No, you haven't. It's a very sad movie, but it's about sort of where PFAS came from and the company and the litigation and the farmers that were affected by PFAS, and how PFAS now is in everything. PFAS is in our clothes, it's in our water, it's in our food, it's coming out in they're finding it in our animals, and it is a forever chemical that and basically anything that is waterproof, fire retardant has a PFAS in it. That's why the chemical it's called Forever Chemicals because it's many, it's called, originally PFAS was the makeup of it, but it's got so many different names now, Gen X and all this kind of stuff. But if you just call it Forever Chemicals, anything that's Teflon in your house, get rid of it. Bring it to the dump. Make sure you throw it in the trash, not the metal or the compostable. You want it you want them to get rid of it, hopefully in a healthy way. And anything that that is flame retardant or waterproof has PFAS in it. It's everywhere. But the things you can start getting rid of is any of your pans, especially that are scratched, because you're literally eating that. Anything that's waterproof, any waterproof makeup has PFAS in it. So you're putting your waterproof mascara on your eyes, you're putting PFAS directly into your eyes. And it sounds very scary, especially if you watch the movie. But it doesn't, it doesn't affect everybody the same way. It's a cancer causing agent, but depends on how, it depends on you, depends on how much, whether it's in your wells, there's so many things that can vary that, whether you'll be affected by it, but we all are in some way. Right. And as you and I were talking about, as consumers, we need to start asking companies to make things without PFAS in them. And companies are listening. And if you go to Lapse Now, you'll find some of those companies that are making better choices for us because consumers are asking for it. Right. If we say this is what we need and what we want, the companies are going to listen, but we have to know that it exists. We have to have the conversations so that we can know there's a choice to be made.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I didn't really, I knew about PFAS, but not like the huge extent of the damage until I think it was last year when a lot of the farms were in Maine. There was a really popular farm in Maine that had to close because it had the sludge residuals from being a dumping ground.
Unfortunately, people don't realize that there are actually a lot of them in Maine. And that was a surprise to me recently, because you think of Maine as like so, healthy and outdoorsy and right, and lots of land. And unfortunately, yeah, these companies have been dumping. They have to take the chemicals, right, the residual chemicals, and do something with them, which is why PFAS is in everything now, because it's gone through our water sources.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But again, we can sit here and we can get really upset and depressed about it, or we can say we want something different. And so that we can make choices, like I just said, to live better in the future and make a change. It took a while to get here. Now it's going to take a while to get somewhere else, but we got to start.
We got to start, or it's never going to happen.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. That's a big one. So I'm glad that we did touch on that. So Barbara, if somebody wants to follow you, follow you and learn more about live and play in a more sustainable world, how can they do that?
Well, first of all, they can go to the website, lapsnow.com, or I'm also on Instagram at 𝗚𝗿𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍, live and play. That's I guess how you'd find me. And YouTube, we actually have a YouTube channel, Living and Playing in a Sustainable World. Very, very new, very small, very young, but we're going to grow. And the event is also there on YouTube as well to watch. So, as well as the website. Thank you, Amy, for this chat. I really had fun.
Yay. I'm so glad that we finally were able to do this. And thank you so much for your message. Oh my gosh, I love it. I feel like I just feel like we were so meant to get to know each other. Well,
keep up the good work with your podcast, because this is how people are going to find out about them for sure. So listen to Amy's Grounded in Maine podcast, because you're going to learn a lot.
Awesome. Well, and definitely check out Barbara's website as well. So, all right. Thank you so much.
All right. Enjoy your evening. Take care. Bye.